recording this so you can come back to it later. All right, so the first poem is titled To Usward by Gwendolyn B. Bennett, written in 1924, or at least published. So let us be still, as ginger jars are still upon a Chinese shelf, by entities of self, not still with lethargy and sloth, but quiet with the pushing of our growth, not self-contained with smug identity, but conscious of the strength and entity. If any have a song to sing that's different from the rest, oh, let them sing before the urgency of youth's behest. For some of us have songs to sing of jungle heat and fires, and some of us are solemn grown with pitiful desires, and there are those who feel the pool of seas beneath the skies, and some there be who want to croon of Negro lullabies. We claim no part with racial dearth, we want to sing the songs of birth. And so we stand like ginger jars bound round with dust and age. Like jars of ginger, we are sealed by nature's heritage. But let us break the seal of years with pungent thrust of song, for there is joy in long dry tears for wedded passions of a throng. Okay, so take a couple minutes, read the poem one more time, and think about, okay, so what is she saying? Whatever, it is what it is. We're back. We're back. Okay. Of course. Yeah. Yes, we're good to go. All right, so one more time, yeah, read it one more time and think about, what is this poem about? What is she saying? What the heck is she talking about with the ginger jars? Oh. Love it. All right. So first question, right? If you're looking at this, if you're looking at the words, they've already been defined for you, so that should make comprehension a bit easier. But first I want to talk about the ginger jars. What is going on with the ginger jars? Why? What is that metaphor? What is that metaphor representing? What is it a metaphor for? These ginger jars. So let's look at this one more time, right? And I can see Angela and Karina and Ryle are still here. Cool. So as ginger jars are, let us be still as ginger jars are still upon a Chinese shelf by entities of self, not with lethargy and sloth, but quiet with the pushing of our growth. Okay, so there's that first part, talking about the ginger jars, or using the ginger jars. And then it says, so we stand like ginger jars bound round with the dust and age. Like jars of ginger, we are sealed by nature's heritage. Let us break the seal of years with pungent thrusts of song. What's going on with those ginger jars? Yeah. Chef kiss. Oh, yes. Yes, perfect. Yeah, exactly. So the ginger jars, right, is the oppressive nature of society at that time, right? And yeah, no Wi-Fi. Oh yes, Wi-Fi. All burned out. Okay, so just lose the internet. I think it's fine for now, yeah. Okay. Okay. So right, the ginger jars, yes, represent the oppressive society. And also, right, this imagery here, right, bound round with dust and age, right, bound, right, kind of secured with time. This idea that, right, that oppression has been in place for centuries, right? But this community is slowly building momentum, as Ryle said, to break that seal, right? To break that oppressive society, to break free from that with, right, the pungent thrust of a song. So that could even be representative, right, of just this community finally having a voice within American society. Okay. So there's that, right? And that reflects the ideas of the Harlem Renaissance. Wow, amazing. Very cool. Excellent, Martine. You've joined us on this page. And then we also have this idea. So, right, but quiet with the pushing of our growth, not self-contained with smug identity, but conscious of the strength in entity. If any have a song to sing that's different from the rest, oh, let them sing before the urgency of youth's behest. For some of us have songs to sing of jungle heat and fires, and some of us are solemn grown with pitiful desires. And there are those who feel the pool of seas beneath the skies, and some there be who want to croon of Negro lullabies. So this is all, right, that idea that whatever art, right, as a Black creator, we can call them content creators, you have to be, right, what you create should be representative of the truth of what it means to be Black in America. And that means showing daily mundane aspects of life to, right, maybe racial inequity. And so she says all of that here, right? If any have a song to sing that's different from the rest, let them sing. So this idea that, right, if a person wants to create something, let them. There shouldn't be any restrictions upon that. And no one should believe, right, this self-contained with smug identity, no one should believe that their work or their identification of maybe what it means to be Black in America is better than anyone else within the Black community. Okay, we also see too, right, we claim right, we claim no part with our race lacking anything. That is another idea of the Harlem Renaissance, this idea of making sure that they are seen as equal to white birthing of a new culture, birthing of a new identity. Remember, Renaissance means rebirth, renewal. Yeah. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, right? This poem reflects the ideals of the Harlem Renaissance in its use of the metaphor of the ginger jar, talking about, right, breaking free from an oppressive society, making sure that any voice from the Black community is heard and valued, and then also making sure that, right, this community has pride in their identity, in this newly formed identity.
Please excuse the interruption. We just had a minor power outage. Our IT department has been contacted. We should be up and running in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. We see in this poem too, right? For there is joy in long dry tears for wedded passions in a throng. Those last couple lines, right, really hit upon this idea that the past was hard, but that leads to this group being adamant in a change, right? Breaking the seal. Okay. So again, right, you should have been jotting down notes during that time, either in this document with the questions, on a piece of note paper, on your hand, on leaves if you don't have any paper. Just, you should have been taking notes. All right. So we're going to move a little quickly. We're going to go ahead and look at the second poem. Now, these are lyrics, but remember, poetry and lyrics are very similar. They use similar structures. There's a lot of similarities. So that's why you can study songs as poetry. But anywho, you'll notice that this song was written and performed in the year 1900. So this is pre the height of the Harlem Renaissance, but we kind of see the ball rolling a little bit here. And this song was utilized throughout the Harlem Renaissance as a song of protest, similar to that song that was sung during the protests, the peaceful protests, I think on Montgomery Square, Martin Luther King Jr., right? We shall overcome. Peaceful protest song, this is somewhat similar. So again, take a look. What are the ideas in this poem? How does it reflect the ideas of the Harlem Renaissance? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope the present has brought us. Face the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, we have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears had been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who has, by thy might, led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we meet thee. Lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand. true to our God, true to our native land. Okay. So if we take a look at this, right, the first stanza, and he's definitely divided this into easily divisible stanzas, right? One doesn't bleed into the next, like the last poem. So let's look at the stanza here. Right, this is pretty celebratory, right? Ring with the harmonies of freedom, of liberty, lift every voice and sing till everyone can hear, right? Let our celebrations, let our happiness rise to as high as the listening sky. So just let it ring out everywhere, right? Let it resound loud as a rolling sea. So again, let our happiness, this idea of freedom be heard. Remember 1865, slavery was abolished. It is 1900. It is 35 years since the abolishment of slavery. Yeah, there should be a celebration of this freedom, right? I mean, and even these two couplets here, right? Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us. So, right, I guess looking at the faith and the strength that the trials and tribulations had taught this community. And then, right, song full of hope, what the present has brought us. So we have past, present, and then future. And we see that there is hope in that future because of the imagery, right? Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. There again, we see the same symbolism as in sweat, rising sun, new day, new beginning, right? And in this last couplet, it's really about that idea of persevering until equality is realized, right? But finding hope, finding joy in this time of progress. Okay, and then the second stanza, right? Stony the road we trod. So imagine walking, if you've walked in any of the Arizona washes, it's uneven, it's all sandy, there's stones, uneven, right? It's hard to walk on. Bitter the chastening rod. Well, obviously, a chastening rod, if we look, is a discipline rod. So think of a switch, right? You're getting hit with it. So really, right, these are the trials, right? Felt in the days when hope unborn had died. So there wasn't even an idea of hope. That did not exist, right? How could it? But, right, with that steady beat of the weary feet, they have come to a place of progress, right? And then talking about the sacrifices that sisters had made either by being enslaved and persevering, or right, the sacrifices during the Civil War and the sacrifices that people made post-Civil War to maybe try to instill some sort of equality or even just a sacrifice of inequality. But right, and again, right, out of the gloomy past till now we stand at last. Again, this idea of hope and progress. And the third stanza is really similar to almost a hymn, right? With the thous and the thys, even the lest, right? This is very similar to a hymn. So, I mean, this could even be the idea that like finding solace or finding comfort in the Christian God, which is, right, for most people in America, this was the religion, right, Christianity. And slaves who came over from other countries who maybe had different religions, right, Christianity was the religion of the country, and therefore slaves were forced to assimilate. And right, I think most people understand this, but no matter what religion you have or what type of spirituality you practice, what that brings is the idea of comfort, right? And thinking about the idea of the Christian God, especially New Testament God, It's the idea of comfort and safety and not wanting people to suffer. And so again, this is where I think like we found solace in our faith, and we should maintain that faith. But that last part, right, true to our God, true to our native land, this is where we kind of see that last part is really the focus of integration in terms of, right, American culture and American society is not solely white society. American society is also, Black society is also, well, at this point, 1900s, I guess, kind of Chicano society or Latino society. But we're primarily focusing on Black society at this moment. Because, right, true to our God, right, we have the same God as you. We share that faith that the country shared at that time. And then also, true to our native land. What is their native land? America. Yeah, right. So again, making sure to define themselves as American, right? Okay. So in this, we see hope, right? Reflections from the Harlem Renaissance, we see hope and change. And also, because it is written by a Black man and it is about Black experience, that in of itself is a reflection of the Harlem Renaissance. Okay. Very last poem. I saved the shortest and the easiest for last. Right, like a nice little dessert. This poem is by Langston Hughes, and we know a little bit about him, right? Probably one of the most famous American poets, contemporary American poets, and or modern American poets, and also, right, one of the most famous poets to come out of the Harlem Renaissance movement. So, this is titled Mother to Son. I want you to pay attention to what perspective this is from. It might be obvious from the title. Yeah, what do you notice? What do you notice? And then what is it about? What's going on? So Mother to Son by Langston Hughes, 1922. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpets on the floor. Bare. But all the time, I's been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps because you finds it kind of hard. Don't you fall now, for I's still going, honey. I's still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. So, what's this poem about? Yeah. So I think that you can probably see within these three poems, there's lots of similarities, right? This idea of perseverance, this idea even too of passing down a culture or passing down an idea of beliefs and behaviors, right? Remember too that we began this unit talking about, okay, so what is culture? How is culture created? And so in this poem, we kind of see this new, not new, but yeah, this Black Americans are, right, like we said before, creating an identity to assert or insert into American society. And so this is where we begin to see the exposing of Black culture, right? So in this, it is literally, right, a mother talking to her son, one generation talking to another generation and telling them how you should behave. And so, again, passing down a culture that focuses on perseverance, despite, I guess, the hardships. Yeah, right. And we see this entire poem uses the metaphor, or I guess the analogy of a staircase. Right? It's been no crystal stair. It's not been smooth. It's not been nice. It's not been easy. It's not been pretty. It's been hard and splintered. I'm even, right, in some places bare. Like there's things that have been missing. Right? But I continue. I find landings. I go around the corners. I go where things are really tough, where there hasn't been any light. And I keep on going, and you have to as well. So I think then, right, even if this wasn't necessarily mentioned in the ideas of the Harlem Renaissance we talked about before, right, one thing that we can glean from this, one thing that we can understand from these poems, using our historical criticism, is that perseverance is part of this new identity, right? Part of this new identity for Black Americans. How else would this poem reflect ideals or ideas of the Harlem Renaissance? What does it include? Sweat also included this as well. How is this poem different from the other two that we've read? No, because that's in the lift every voice and sing, and in To Usward, the idea of perseverance and that momentum. Notice how things are spelled in this poem. Ayo, right? And so this is a recognition and a validation of Black dialect utilized in a poem that is it is pretty profound, right? Similar to what Hurston did, right? Using Black dialect to represent the experience of Black Americans, right? So, and validating that Ebonics is just as valid and just as significant and important as Standard English. So that's also a reflection of the Harlem Renaissance. All right, folks. So for the rest of the time, I know we moved a little bit fast with that, but for the rest of the time, answer those 3 questions, right? How are the ideas of the Harlem Renaissance and the 1920s reflected in this poem? For each of these. Now, the second one is a little bit different. The question's a bit different, but it's really asking the same thing. And that is all. If you find yourself stuck, if you're like still scratching your head and like, what the hell did just happen? Let me know and we can go through it together and I can help guide you.